Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Chalice chat. This is the start of another recording session for me, which has a little bit of some unfortunate news here. I'm going to open the path down this way. Because I've been editing the other episodes, and in the process of doing research to make sure I would get... Oh, it looks like we're going to go straight to the boss? Huh, I'm surprised. Anyway, I was doing research on the summon names, and Gremia, Sir Gremia, messed me up. It turns out I was looking up the official translation of that name, and the particular source that I used made it very clear that this was a summon for Ebrietas. And I feel like that's got to be the last boss. All right, we also need to check out this one. So here we go again. We're looking at another summon. This is another one. I've definitely seen this name before in the base game. I don't know how new it is to the Chalices, but obviously the first part is Old Hunter. The last part is Summon. And then in the kind of quotation marks, we have Mensis, which is Mensis. No, which in this case does mean of. And then Damian would be the name. Something like that anyway. And I believe that is translated as Mensis Scholar Damian, which I think is super interesting because if you'll notice, Damian of Mensis, I'll have to double check this name because Damian of Mensis is literally all the Japanese is saying. Kind of unlike the Sir Gremia situation that I was talking about just a minute ago, we have the addition of information, which I think is fascinating. I mean, obviously it's appropriate. It's a member of the Mensis sect means that they're going to be a scholar. That seems reasonable to me. But it's kind of some additional information. Sometimes you do want to do that in a translation. So I like it, but I am intrigued by that. And yeah, I don't see anything else. So let's go ahead and open these doors. Probably for the end of this Chalice dungeon. Yep, and sure enough, we have the rematch with Ebrietas. So, whoops. Just roll out of the way of that. That can be a particularly nasty attack. So, I want to talk a little bit about the name here. We have Hoshi, which I was recently talking about. That Ooch. Well, it worked out. Nice. That was a good amount of damage. Uh-oh, I'm probably going to get hit this time. Yep, as you can see, that charge, it's wider than it looks, and it hurts to be caught in it. I was just talking about Hoshi, which is that first kanji there, which means star. In isolation, it means star. It's, as I've said several times now, rather vague, so it doesn't have to mean star. It can mean like planet, comet, what have you, associated with the cosmos, that sort of thing. And then no, which this is another instance. I'm now being extra cautious since I had to put in an edit where I foolishly said an instance of no meant of, or could be replaced with of, and it really couldn't. But in this case, no, this is a true scenario where, hold on, I can make some blood bullets, where you can indeed replace that no with of and not really lose anything, because the third character is Musing, which literally means daughter, but it can also just be used to refer to like a young lady or maiden, I think is another common translation. Young girl. It's kind of like Hoshi. It's got a rather large spread in meaning. So, I think Daughter of the Cosmos is the appellation that the official translation uses. And I think that makes a good deal of sense. So, and I took the trouble to make those blood bullets, and I haven't been using my Executioner's gloves at all, which was part of the reason I wanted to do that. Uh-oh, I'm in for it. I think I got less hurt than when I was in the middle of dodging, which makes some sense, but not a whole lot. Oh, that worked out. I did not think that was going to happen. I'm curious how it compares to A Call Beyond. So we did about 780 with Huh? Did about 780 with the gloves. And this is probably not going to be an ideal shot. But 1115 with a call beyond. Which I don't think that ends up stacking up when you factor in the cost of the bullets. I feel like in order to really get the most out of a call beyond, I would need to have a higher amount of, an even higher amount of arcane, because as I understand it, like, I think that's, well, as I understand it, basically all of the hunter tools really come into their own around 90, I wonder if that's going to be a high enough insight meter, around 90 arcane, 90 to 99, like, one of the few stats that it actually pays to really invest all the way in. Most of them give incredibly diminished returns after either 40 or 50. 50 for the physical ones, 40 for the stamina. And honestly, the stamina, most people, I think I've said this before, most people don't even bother leveling it up at all. So, let's see, what was I saying? Oh, great. Now I'm going to get hit with the frenzy. I'm going to get... Yep. Yeah, I wanted to heal, and it was too slow. I remember what I was saying. I was saying that the Call Beyond is one of the hunter tools that scales the best out of them all, as I understand it. And therefore, probably the more I invest in Arcane, the more it makes sense to use a Call Beyond in place of the Executioner's Gloves. And of course, there's always the kind of up and down factor of how many beams of a Call Beyond are you going to be able to get to land. Because the more of them you can have hit your target, the more damage you're going to do. So there's always a little bit of a question of how well you can optimize your placement and timing with the Call Beyond. Whereas the Executioner's Gloves, a little bit less of a factor there. Uh-huh. Ow. I'm trying to get Ebrietas to lower her head so that I can smack it. That's the chief strategy here. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Nope. Uh-huh. And speaking of Ebrietas, of course we have, I talked a little bit about how I'm totally fine with Daughter of the Cosmos. It really, like I said, both of those kanji have pretty wide-ranging meanings, and Daughter of the Cosmos sounds cool, sounds like you're fighting a boss, and it sounds appropriate. Now, I did have a really interesting comment on the episode of Translation Born where I talked about Ebrietas' name, where they kind of made the point that Daughter, they liked the idea of Maiden a little bit better than Daughter, because that one doesn't have as many associations with, oh boy, it's been a long time since I looked at this comment, so I'm probably going to get it wrong, which I feel bad about, but maybe I'll cut in the future and kind of clarify. I should have taken another swing. Oh well. But from what I recall, the idea is that that whole idea of daughter and the parent-child relation of the cosmos is a little bit inappropriate for a great one, and therefore Maiden of the Cosmos they thought was a preferable translation. And again, that's something that I can understand. This person had a very interesting theory about the nature of what it meant to be a great one, I thought. And certainly tied in with that particular argument. So if I've misrepresented that, I'll try and cut in here. But it did clarify for me, like, I know that, for instance, what is it? It did clarify for me, there's an item, I think it's the Rose Marinus, where there's a phrase in the item. I haven't talked about the Rose Marinus in Translation Born yet, so this, I guess, is a little bit of an early preview. But one of the things that, one of the Japanese phrases in the Rose Marinus uses the same kanji as the third character on the screen from the left there, Musume. And I think the official translation is something like, "O fair maiden, why is it that you weep?" And so there is a strong contingent of people who have studied both the Japanese translation, or the Japanese version, and also the English translation. And oops, couldn't quite make it. Oh. But they've studied the Japanese translation, and they've looked at the they've studied the Japanese version, and they've looked at the English translation for this information, and they've concluded. Oh boy, it killed me. I was in the middle of healing, so it did extra damage. I'll finish my point soon. The conclusion is that the Rosmarinus is referencing Ebrietas, and because the Rosmarinus is a choir item, it makes a good deal of sense that they would be concerned about the weeping figure of Ebrietas. If you remember, when you find her in the base game, she's kind of crying over what looks to be an altar of Ram with some strange growths on it that are somewhat reminiscent of this Chalice dungeon area. So, I've always been, like, obviously that makes sense, right? You can say, okay, it's Musume in both cases. One is probably a reference to the other. And if you think about the lore behind the choir finding Ebrietas in this dungeon and her name containing the character for Musume, and the Rosmarinus being one of the weapons that's kind of associated with the Great Ones, with Arcane, it makes a lot of sense. So I've always been like, okay, that's reasonable. But at the same time, like I said, Musume is a pretty common word. So I've always also kind of had this hesitance where it's like, yeah, that's a reasonable interpretation. I don't know if I'm fully convinced of that. And of course, when covering this in Translation Born, I like to let people make up their own minds. So I would present the information and, hopefully allow them to make what they think is the best decision, given the context. Just raise it as a possibility. These Chalice chats are a little bit more informal, so I don't feel, Alright, I'm curious. That did 1315. Ooh, I can do back-to-back. 2820. What's 2820 minus 1315? It's 1500 and something. So I think I still do a little bit more damage when I'm doing a visceral attack. Uh-oh. I'm off. My timing is off. Good thing I have a boatload of HP. Whew, baby. Ebrietas is a difficult boss. And then, of course, to kind of finish my thoughts on the name here, beyond the kind of big-ticket Daughter of the Cosmos sort of thing, there's also the Katakana Ebrietas, and that I am pretty sure I recall from looking up... Aha! Made it work. I recall from looking up... Uh-oh. That did a lot of damage. My first instinct was to attack. It was probably a mistake, but it also sort of worked, so fine. That looks like that was another power-up of some kind. Okay. Ooh, that did more damage for some reason. Ow! I thought I dodged away from that in time, but clearly I did not. But Ebrietas is kind of like... it's got the it's the Japanese version of the Latin, like, Ebrietas, or something like that, that is related to inebriation. So there's that as well. Ebrietas obviously is an important figure, also a very mysterious one. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look out. Look out. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of theories that are much more visual in nature. I am not a very, I'm not a very visual person. Please let me out of here. That was a prime opportunity to win the fight, and I did not get it. I think I have enough blood vials that I'm just going to be able to... Yep, here we go. Whew. That was a surprisingly fast boss battle. I would have thought that would be harder. Okay, and we have the... I mean, wasn't super easy. I died a bunch, but I'm used to, like, the end of the... what was it? The end of Lower Loran with the rematch with Parl took, like, hours and hours and hours. So, this one I didn't even have to jump to montage. But we've got the root chalice for ease. We've got what looks like a powerful arcane gem. And, ooh, 2 bloodstone chunks. Now that's nice. I think they have kind of added that in an update. They didn't used to do that, but I'll take it. So, we're still going a little bit early here. Again, that was a little bit faster than I thought it would be. So I am going to jump back to the dream, and I'll not end the episode quite yet. I will see you there. We're going to set up the next chalice. Hello again, everyone. We are back in the dream, and we've got, what is that, 141,000? We should be able to level up.
What is it?
Let's see about this.
Very well, let me.
Go up to 47. So close to the vaunted 50.
Farewell, good maid.
All right. And so, let's see. I should also repair my weapon. Just makes sense. Oh, and I realize... All right, I'm going to have to do a quick edit here, because I realized that I was so sure that there would be nothing further in ease that I never bothered to, like, actually check. So I'm going to jump into the chalice here and just kind of edit that out if there's nothing. Well, I'm going to edit out my checking, and then if there... I'll report back with my findings. Okay, hello again, everyone. I'm back from double-checking the chalice, which I realized after I jumped in I probably didn't actually have to do. If you want to be smarter than me, I'll show you why. Oh, nope. See? I overthought myself twice. I'm glad I went back in to check, because I was thinking that you see how you've got the Dai Sanso, like the 3 characters to the left on the one that I'm highlighted, and then you've also got the Okubu, I think that would be read. The two kanji to the right. The Okubu kind of means like Oku means inner, and then Bu means like portion or room or place. So I was thinking, oh, okay, we've got, I think maybe this is translated as heart in English. It's been a while since I looked at it. I'll double check that. Interesting translation if so. But I'm seeing, I thought initially, oh, it's got the heart, which means that's the very last thing, and only the last one has the Okubu portion here. But no, you can see that is also on layer 2 and also on layer 1. It just means that's the one in the boss chamber. So fortunately, I did go back and double check, and now I can say for certain, we're done with ease. I can't believe it. It's a rare accomplishment for me to actually make it this far through the chalices. So we're going to get rid of the lower hintertombs here. Goodbye. And we're going to see what it takes to create the final Pthumeru chalice, the Great Pthumeru Ihyll. And as expected, I'm going to need to make some more arcane haze. How much more is the question? 20 more is the answer. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Gonna run back to the workshop. And I need to determine what exactly, gotta use the arcane haze extractor, what exactly I'm gonna use with it. I still think this level 4 tomb mold is a prime candidate. Like, the equivalent in Ritual Blood I have 12 of, and this I have 19 of. But, I suppose, like, this is another thing, because I think I can get Living String by using Insight. Let me check that. Woo. I always knock these books over. Turn to dust. Okay, let's see. Is it here? Yeah, see? It costs Insight. So, I'm gonna grab 2 of these, because I'm gonna want to keep hold of one so that I can do the analysis and translation born. And I'm gonna want to use one when I make the dungeon. And I'm gonna want to extract the arcane haze from the other one. Where are we? Yep, 3 living strings becomes 2 living strings. And now I have... oh, it doesn't... I was looking at my insight and thinking like, oh, that's weird. But it doesn't show me the arcane haze that easily. So if I go down here, yeah, it looks like we have everything we need. So we're going to make the great Pthumeru Ihyll Chalice upon the altar. There it is. And I'm going to go buy some blood vials, which I'm still pretty close to these maxes here, but never hurts to stay topped up. And that worked out well in terms of using a good number of my blood echoes. And yeah, we're going to, before I jump straight in, I will I will point out Pthumeru Iru, like the equal sign. I am a little bit unsure of that one. I generally treat it kind of like I treat the dot in Katakana. Like I treat that as a punctuation mark, as a way of saying like put a division here, put a space. Because Japanese doesn't actually have like spaces between words like you do in English. Unless you're playing a game like, I think certain games like Pokemon that are all in hiragana or katakana, they'll use spaces so that they can differentiate words. But if you're using kanji, you generally don't have to. So they don't have spaces, and so they have these characters. I think that equal sign basically serves that purpose. There might be more to it, but it's not something that comes up very much in my experience. But I wanted to call out this name, Pthumeru Iru, because I think it's interesting. The Iru sounds a lot like ill to me. So I wonder how much that may be a little bit of a play on words there. I don't blame the English because it's supposed to sound weird, right? That's also part of the point, and it's also, this is a Lovecraftian game, so you've got weird spellings all over the place, and great ones, and unpronounceable concepts. Is it cause? Some say cosm. That whole idea is part of this game. And I think you can still, if you kind of know what you're going for, if you look at the official English version, which I believe is like Ihyll, you can kind of run the E sounds together because H is unvoiced. So you can kind of recreate that if you know that you want to in English by just making an ill sound instead of Ihyll or something that like emphasizes that H and Y. But if you just gloss those together, you can still end up with ill or something quite like ill. And I think that's interesting, obviously with the whole thing of plague and sickness and Bloodborne. But anyway, that's probably more than enough talk on that. I'm going to jump into the dungeon now, and I'll see you soon. All right, here we are, everybody. We've made it. This is the first layer of the Pthumeru Ihyll Chalice, or Ihyll. See the conversation I was just having if you want to learn more about that, or know why I'm pronouncing it kind of weird. It's spelled weird kind of no matter what, so I'm just going to go with ill. So, we are here in this dungeon. This is the final story dungeon. And, yep, sure enough, we have a pre-boss pathway over here. So we're going to get to exploring. I'm excited. Like I said, very, very rarely have I come here. Oh, and speaking of very, very rarely and end of the road, I did want to note, I think I had kind of mentioned at the end of one of the more recent episodes that I was going to have a choice to make in the near future. And I kind of wanted to expound on that now that we've made such incredible progress into the Chalice dungeons, which is that in order to continue to get some of the like Chalice specific items, the best way to do it is for me to go online and take advantage of the fact that other people have made these chalices that you can enter special glyphs to jump straight to their chalices that they've made. And you can use those to very quickly and easily get items that would otherwise be quite rare and take a long time to track down if you were just going to randomly generate dungeons and kind of hope for the best. So let's see if this is going to trigger anything. The answer is no. All right, so we have a path down here. We have a path up there as well. Don't see anything down these staircases. Do we have any doorways over here? Probably not. All right. I'm going to stay on the upper section here. and get back to making my point, which was that the ease of getting certain Chalice-specific items is accentuated by being able to access the online functionality. I'm currently playing this game offline, in offline mode, because I would rather not have to pay for the privilege of playing it online. And also, I just like, this is something about me that I've been this way for a very long time. I just prefer playing these games offline. I've done it ever since Demon Souls. I did like my first playthrough thinking, oh, I'll I don't normally like playing online or any sort of multiplayer, but this is different. It's a multiplayer single-player game, so I'll have that experience. And so I did a full playthrough, and I had that experience, and I turned it off. I didn't like it. I did have like a couple of cool encounters, but by and large, I was not converted to an online playstyle. And Demon Souls in particular, if you wanted to manipulate world tendency, you really needed to play offline. So it kind of encouraged my bad habits. I bet that down there is where I would show up if I had gone through that door off that other passageway. But anyway, regardless of my online-offline playing habits and economizing, I'm thinking that I'm going to want to jump online for at least some time in order to save myself the headache of tracking down rare items through random generation, if I can avoid it. So that, in order to make that work, in order to be able to easily access all the dungeons that different people have made online, I need to myself have made different dungeons with all of the various additive rights. So that is Fetid, Rotten, and Cursed. And the Defiled Chalice, as I've pointed out a few times, doesn't actually count towards the curse requirement, even though you have to deal with the effect. Because you don't, for the Defiled Chalice, you don't actually make the, you don't actually activate the curse. You're not the one who calls it down. The game wants you to be the one to perform the rituals in order to access the dungeons that other people have made with those rituals. And you can do it either by making 3 different dungeons with 1 right each, or you can combine them into a single dungeon. And as I understand it, the most cost-effective way to unlock to meet these requirements is to make 1 dungeon at a time. But that also takes a long time. It means doing 3 whole more dungeons, and that's not necessarily something that I'm interested in. So I'm thinking could be good to... wow, these guys have so much HP now. I'm thinking it could be good... Uh-oh, I'm gonna get hit. Yep. Haha. I'm thinking it could be good to just make the 1 dungeon. But in the process of just making the 1 dungeon... Alright, now that you've switched styles, you can be visceraled. There we go. So if I'm not going to do the cost-effective way, I'm going to make just a single Fetid, Rutted, Cursed dungeon on my own. I thought that's also something that I think might be fun to include in the Chalice chats. So that's kind of the thing that I've been mulling over. Do I want to include that particular dungeon? And that would be something that I have literally never experienced before. I have only ever gone through the whole series of story dungeons in this game. I have never messed with any sort of online functionality. I have never I think you can make the different rights offline. I've never bothered with any of the rights. I had... the first time I did it, it was not anywhere near as fun of an experience as I've been having in these Chalice chats. And the idea of doing more Chalice dungeons with added layers of difficulty had 0 appeal to me. So I did not engage with that at all. So it would be a completely unique experience. And I think that could be a fun thing to include in the Chalice chats to kind of have people watch me experience the effect of those rights for the first time. I see that trap. So that's kind of the decision that I'm going to be weighing, especially because I feel like if I just end with, I think, layer 2, I'm definitely going to have to double check this because I don't want to be wrong about this. But I think that if I want to, if I'm going to stop this dungeon at layer 2, then it's just going to be not quite as satisfying as it could be. Not really going to be the end of a whole dungeon. So I think I'm leaning at the moment towards including the extra right dungeon. But if you have any opinions on that, I would love to hear them. Because obviously, if nobody wants to watch it, then I'm probably just no real reason to do it. So let me know what you think about that as you're watching this video. And it looks like we've just handily come to the end of the first sort of pre-lantern passageway. So I might as well open up the next section, but I think I'm going to call the episode once I get there. And look at that, I've probably got enough blood echoes to level up. So I'm going to do my typical towards the end of the episode thing here, which is I'm going to light this, and I'll probably head back to the dream in between episodes. And then we're going to get on with exploring the main section of Layer 1 of the Great Pthumeru Ihyll Chalice. Until next time, well, I feel like I always stumble over my words as I'm trying to end these. I hope you've enjoyed watching this episode, and until next time, thanks for watching, everyone. No, don't go back to the dream. Hold on, I was too close to... See what I mean? Look at this. I can't end the episode to save my life. Thanks for watching, everyone.